Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. You know, the afterlife really is real. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that there is another existence that goes on after this, what we call life. Actually, it's just a continuum that goes on and on. You know, at the Hadron Collider, this new huge thing that moves particles, at amazing speeds, and they smash in together. And they've just figured out that we have another 7 different dimensions that are going on all at the same time, and that, that's amazing. These are other dimensions where probably more than likely there's other life going on at the same time. And if you watched even things like the Afterlife experiments, I think you can find that on YouTube. And these things were studied over and over and over again over a 5 year period. You know, these people getting together, and they would bring people from the other side, and they would answer them and have things teleport out of nowhere. Uh, and newspapers would appear, and jewelry and flowers and all kinds of things, and actual voices would come, and things would move around the room, and lights would move around the room. We live in this dimensional soup that we are in right now, and a lot of people kind of take that for granted, that we think of this uh, one dimension, actually 3 dimensional plus one more, uh, height, width, depth, and there's also time, which is another one. But there's actually more to this than what we see with our senses. You ever seen dogs react to something which you weren't cognizant of something being there? Well, they have that sixth sense about something else being there also. And it reminds me of a story of the Hopi Indians, and the Hopi were helping to find a plane that went down, yeah, up in the mountains, and it was snowing, and it was very cold, and they had not found the 6 people that crashed in the airplane, and they wanted to. It had been a long time that they knew they couldn't survive in that cold, so they wanted to at least recover their bodies. So they went to one of the Hopi medicine men, and he started doing his chanting and talking to Great Spirit. And Great Spirit said, you must go up in the plain, and you must follow the animals, and when you come to this river, follow the animals, and then all of a sudden you will be forced down low, and then you'll have to come back, and then they will be found. And it was very interesting that they went out, and they uh, saw some deer, and they started following the deer, and they came across a river, and then they followed some more deer, and they went across another river, and all of a sudden the fog came in, and they were forced down low, and it was almost so fogged in that they could almost didn't make it back, but they did make it back, and they were safe. And the interesting part was the next day, a hunting party that was out looking, deer hunting, they came across the plane, and they found the 6 passengers, and it was all very amazing. And then they had a gratitude gathering in a teepee for being able to find that plane that went down. And they were actually telling Great Spirit thank you for being able to find that plane. The family members are happy that they have the bodies of the people who had died in that crash, and all of a sudden, out of thin air, at the out from the out of nowhere, here is dark, and there's a light from the fire inside, and all of a sudden a white rock goes boom, and they picked up the rock, and here is inscribed on the rock exactly what happened when they went out with the plane, when the hunters found the plane, and on and on. It was all inscribed into that rock, a white rock. And pretty amazing thing. We are in this great soup of energy, the soup of the universal consciousness. And also, you know, my brother-in-law has been sick. He's been in the hospital and finally got out last night. So he's been there like 23 days. He had a colon abscess, and finally, at the end of the first day I saw him, and he was in the pain ward, and he looked green, and he didn't look good. And I wasn't, I was praying that he would get out of there. I wasn't so. I was going, wow, he doesn't look good now. But I started a vigil because we can't be there day and night with him all the time because his wife was there all the time with him, and so I started a vigil of in my mind seeing myself go into his room and doing a Reiki and Qigong healing over his body, and so I would do that every single night. I was doing that and doing that and doing that, and then I called him the other day, and he was still in the hospital, and I said, I was praying for you. And he said, I felt your prayer. There's no doubt about it. And he said, and I saw you at night walk into my room, and you came into my dream. He said, yeah, there's no doubt about that. When we have such great intentions, when we are doing healing work, we can walk into somebody's dreams, and actually our physical presence is not there as our physical body, but our energy is there doing the healing. And this has been done for hundreds of years with Reiki and distance healing, and also with Qigong. And the great masters have talked about this forever. But we live in this soup, this energy field of love. That is the absolute highest form of energy, which is love. And it's up to us to understand that this transition as we move to the other side is not an end to our being. In the afterlife experiments, they talk to Thomas Edison. In the afterlife experiments, they talk to a lot of famous people, and they've had people come in who were trying to debunk it, even magicians and scientists and everything, but they never could. And they were actually interconnecting with different things. And they would have newspapers fall out of the ceiling of the room, and it was printed way back on a manual press, and there's like brand new. There was no way, nobody even has those kind of particular presses anymore. So this, what they call outports, I think, the outports of these different articles would fall into the room. We have a lot to learn. And I don't think that even the people on the other side of the veil, understand it all. They even asked them, what is it like there? And they said, we can't answer that now. And so they would see images also. They would put cameras in the room and lock them in a box, and all of a sudden develop a film that was on the camera, and we could see people who had written on there and their signatures, like Thomas Edison and Marconi and different people, and they confirmed these signatures. And also they would have pictures, and then sometimes it would be just pictures of faces and pictures of like the Eiffel Tower and different places, and just showing things that were happening way back then and right now. And then other people would come, particular people who had a lot of interest in connecting and telling people that there is an afterlife, and very powerful people, in fact, and it's wanted to connect and make a difference in people's lives. So when somebody passes away, it's not the end, it's not goodbye, it's just I'll see you later. And we need to embrace that more. We may feel sad that somebody's passed away. They're not going to be in our physical lives anymore, but we will see them on the other side. I have absolutely no doubt about it. We have this existence. We are not this physical form. And that brings us to what we are going to do. A lot of people get caught up in the fame and the fortune, and they think that's what they're supposed to do when they're here on this planet. And people like Madonna, when she finally got all this money and everything, and she felt empty. You know, people like Paul McCartney, different people who have all this money and then they feel empty. John Lennon, in fact, has talked about that. But it's about what we have in here, the love we have in here, and doing what we know is right on the inside to help people to end suffering on this plane, because that's what we really come for. That's our purpose, is to end suffering and to help people understand in a greater way. You know, the other day I was talking about meditation, and a lot of people, as soon as you say meditation, they just kind of block it out because they're not willing to go there. But we have thousands upon thousands of articles showing that the efficacy of meditation. But are we willing to use these tools to help us to understand who we are deep down inside? And when we understand who we are deep down inside, we start to understand the bigger picture of the oneness of everything in the cosmos and in the multiverse. And when we understand that, we find a feeling of contentment that comes over us, a feeling of calm that comes over us, a feeling of peace that comes over us. And then we understand that everything is good no matter what. You know, I don't have to have this toy, this new car in order to feel good. I don't have to have this new, bigger house in order to feel good. I do my meditation in the morning and I feel good. I do my meditation in the evening and I feel good. I am that I am. And then once we find out about finding the peace inward without going outward, everything changes for us. And we find that we see the continuum of it, this oneness, which is the all-inclusive one. And we are part of the bigger. We are part of the guy working on the house there, putting in the new light fixture. We are part of, the little dog that we have. We are part of the food we eat. We're a part of the sky. We are part of everything because we are all this one consciousness. And when we really understand that in a deep way, we have great joy inside. Great joy inside. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. If you care to get a hold of me, my contact information is down below, and please call early. I go to bed by 8 o'clock, so Eastern Standard Time. And my best way to get a hold of me is email, and also my Skype address is there. And if you care to make a donation, it's down below, the link also. And I really appreciate those donations. I thank you in advance. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.